small and tight. Not like you. Sarah's laugh rings through the night. Such a brute, drunk and silly, thought she'd play. Crazy witch, let me in just for the day. Life's a bitch. Can't you hear me, Sarah, please? Hook ass bitch, hot of air, my lungs they squeeze. Let me out, you witch, this is not a funny joke. You put your hands around my throat, feeling trapped and nearly choke. Gonna croak. Can't you hear me, Sarah, please? Hook ass bitch, out of air, my lungs they squeeze. Let me out, you witch, this is not a funny joke. You put your hands around my throat, feeling trapped and nearly choke. Gonna croak. Sarah, let me out, I'm begging, please. This is stuff I'm almost pegging, please someone don't leave me here. Lost my hair, in this case I disappear. Are you there? Dark and tight, I curl and wait. Are you passed out? You'd return my fate. You emptied my stash out. The game has turned to cruel. Why are you filming late? Inside I feel the fool. I can't breathe. Wasn't meant to be my night. Hiding in the suitcase tight. Sarah's giggles fade away, leaving me as her castaway. Sarah, let me out, I'm begging, please. This stuff I'm almost pegging, please. Pray someone don't leave me here. Lost my hair, in this case I disappear. Are you there? Boom. Looking tight, I curl and wait. You passed out, hoping you return my fate. And you must stash out. Stupid game has turned to cruel. Are you feeling me? Lost it, gotta feel the fool. I can breathe. Wasn't meant to be my night. Hiding in the suitcase tight. Sarah's giggles fade away, leaving me as a castaway. Sarah, let me out. I'm begging, please. Breathing stuff, I'm almost pegging. Please. Drink some, don't leave me here. Lost my air in this year. In this case, I disappear. Are you there? Sarah,
Good evening, everybody. Man, we are prepping up for tonight. It is going to be a fun night tonight. Oh my God, if we got a good one for you, we're just going to kick right into it. We're going to catch up with all of what's going on with the Boones. Sarah Boone, you know what she's been up to. Been throwing people around in suitcases. There's going to be closing arguments. We haven't even gotten there yet. Oh my God, it's just been going on all damn day. They just can't get enough of this. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. I have edited a good portion of this, so we're going to be able to skip through quite a bit of the garbage and get right to it. Hopefully we can finish this thing up before 8 o'clock tonight when the expert goes live. Oh yes, we are going to have some fun tonight. Let's get on with this thing. Here we go. Oh yeah, buddy. Here comes Legs McGee. Hey, Debbie Webb, good to see you right off the bat. See, look, here comes Legs McGee. Comes rolling right in there. Short skirt. I mean, come on, why not? Why not just bring her in right off the bat? Good to see you fly. Just a fly in the fly. Yeah, baby, you know it. Man, oh man, what a day this has been. I mean, who wears something this short? Who wears something this short into a courthouse? I will tell you, not appropriate.
Madam Clerk, I'm ready.
Case number 2020-603, the state of Sarah Boone appears to the record state.
Catch Shore on behalf of the state. William J. for the state.
Defense.
James Owens for Sarah Boone.
Tony Henderson for Sarah Boone.
Yeah, let's get them going.
Ms. Goldberg, please swear or affirm that the testimony you should give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
No, I'm going to
Yeah,
just
good morning.
lie.
Can you please state your full name and date of birth for the record for me?
Sarah Boone, 10-10-7-7.
Ms. Boone is seated at counsel's table wearing a light gray suit and a white blouse. She is in custody, however, will not be wearing any restraints. As such, we will continue to stand when our jury enters and exits. We're here for a charging conference. The court has reviewed, I believe, both parties' red lines as to the jury instructions, including, I believe, that was submitted last night, the defense's red line as to the jury instructions that were provided by the court. Let's try to get as much done as we can until our jury arrives. I believe what we had discussed yesterday was starting at the beginning and moving through as quickly as possible until we get to the real meat of some of the issues in the 3.6F and the 3.6G instructions. Mr. J?
May I remain seated during the charge conference?
Yes, sir, you may. Thank you. All right. I have in my hand a 34-page document that was emailed to the court last night by counsel for the defense at 12:06 a.m. from Lauren Henderson. That's what the court's going to be relying on. Does everyone have that in front of them?
Yes, sir.
Defense.
Oh, he's not happy about that. Defense is like, no, I wanted to argue all this stuff. Come on.
Okay. All right. Let's start on page 1 of 34. 3.1, introduction to final instructions. Any objection to the form of this instruction state?
All right.
Now I'm confused. I don't know that I have a 34-page document from them last night. There was an attachment. There was an email at 12:06.
Hang on. Let me make sure.
Attachments. 36F, separate red lines. 36G, separate red lines. 8.9, culpable negligence, red lines, separates.
Give me a moment. Then it
Give him a
was
moment.
what was sent at 11:31 yesterday.
Yeah.
That 34-page document.
Let's make it happen. Oh, you guys are ready for tonight? Tonight is going to be a blast. We're going to be over on the experts. It is going to be on fire, on fire, on fire. If we can get through this in the next couple of hours, we're going to be able to skip through like 90% of the bullshit. Just so you guys are aware.
Or
we're not gonna
I can just have Madam Clerk print out 2 more copies.
Bullshit.
So we can just work our way through.
So if you sat through it this morning, I feel for you. There we go. See, look at that. I've already knocked out 20 minutes. Here we go.
For 7.1, introduction to homicide. Those 3 paragraphs, any objection?
No objections.
Full negligence of Sarah Boone. So how can you ask for a culpable negligence instruction and then object to 2C in the manslaughter instruction? Logically having trouble understanding that.
Here we go. Here we go.
The instruction that we're asking for is 8.9. It reads to prove the crime of culpable negligence. The statements prove the following 2 elements to be honest reasonable doubt. 1, Sarah Boone exposed Jorge Torres Jr. to personal injury. And 2, she did so through culpable negligence. As to the fact that there is evidence of culpable negligence as to the case in the fact that Ms. Boone, while Mr. Torres is still in the suitcase, goes upstairs. As to it being charged, it's a category 2 lesser included that is.
Do you want more?
That's available to the defense.
How about we add some more charges to it?
Lesser included offenses, as long as there's evidence to support the category 2, and there's evidence in this case to support the category 2 lesser.
Doesn't matter.
Any other further argument, Mr. J?
There's evidence.
Okay. All right. At this point in time, the court is inclined to include the culpable negligence as a lesser included. We'll get to the instruction momentarily. Any other revisions to the 3.4 instruction, defense?
Hey, Yuka.
Moving now to 7.7 manslaughter. There are some objections. The defense is now objecting to paragraph 2C. The death of Jorge Torres was caused by the culpable negligence of Sarah Boone. So how can you ask for a culpable negligence instruction and then object to 2C in the manslaughter instruction? Logically having trouble understanding that.
Slap down.
And this is my argument, because I'm not arguing that there isn't evidence of it, because I just said there's evidence of culpable. The difference is, and I think the burden is different from the state, because it's not alleged in their information.
Does not the instruction say give 2A, 2B, and or 2C depending upon allegations and proof?
Yes, the allegations will be the information.
Okay. Any response, Mr. J?
Judge, it's a category 1 lesser. All the theories are included in that. The language do not, does not need to be included in the charging instrument. And quite frankly, it's not inconsistent with the language in the charging instrument.
He's got the balls to the wall.
And what the evidence is also shown.
Hey, Daniel Berry. How you doing? Daniel Berry, Sports Highlights. For the greatest
That's
highlights,
important for our fact
Dingberry
that,
Sports Highlights.
negligence. And if they reject our argument that it was done knowingly and not patrons ill to spite, etc.
Any other
Judge
arguments,
didn't
sir?
have none
No
of
other
that shit.
argument.
At this point in time, the court is going to overrule the defense's objection as to the objection to 2C, the manslaughter instruction, including
Nice.
the final two paragraphs of what the definition of culpable negligence is on the bottom of page 7 of 34. It seems like it's stipulated between the parties that 2B, Sarah Boone intentionally procured an act that caused the death of George Boone, should be Jorge Torres,
She did.
is not applicable. Is that correct, State? Is that correct,
Yes.
defense? Okay, thank you. And also, since 2B is not applicable, the to procure definition will not be provided. Any other questions regarding the 7.7 instruction?
Nice.
No, Your Honor.
Judge ain't playing. I love it when a judge doesn't play
What I
around.
suggest is the definition of culpable negligence.
With regard to the
Second lesser?
second lesser? Yeah, thank
No
you.
objection to that proposed instruction.
All right, very good. Thank you very much. What is the instruction number for the culpable negligence instruction?
Oh
I
man,
think it's
beautiful.
8.9, isn't it?
And
Okay,
the
thank you very
judge
much.
just runs through this shit so damn quick.
Certainly needs to be included in the verdict form.
Oh yeah,
I
and
understand.
it goes
The defense
goes
isn't-
through, slaps them down. Yes, and the pain is real. The pain is real. Judge has some hotties back there on the behind his bench. Never fear, Allie is here. Good to see you, Allie guy. Good to see you. Good to see you. Beautiful day. Defense is just racketing shit up. Let's make as much noise as we possibly can. I'm so stressed out.
The first row. We've got a couple follow-up questions for you individually, ma'am. Same instruction I've given you all previously. Please don't conduct any independent investigation or research as to the person, places, things, or charge involved, and don't have any discussions amongst yourselves or anyone else, and we'll bring you back in as promptly as possible. Thank you.
All right. There we go. Yeah, Judge ain't playing with this shit. He's like ready to move on. Look at that little cutie back there. Way to go, Judge.
You all may be seated. Thank you. Juror in seat 2 on the
Yeah,
first
this is
row
the very
from right to
beginning of
left.
the day. We'll be catching
you
up
had
to it
advised based on
shortly.
the court's question that you had observed something. You said, what does observed means? And instead of getting that out in front of every other juror, we just want to have that individual conversation with you now. So tell me what it is that you saw or heard or anything yesterday in the courtyard yesterday.
When we were walking back from lunch and we saw that they were gathered, and I asked the deputy if he knew what was going on, and he said it was somebody being talking about domestic violence.
Okay. And you said we were walking. Who's we?
Another juror, I don't want to say her name.
Okay. All right. Is that a juror that was on our panel here?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do you recall where they may have been seated?
Well, they were not sitting on my lap, that's
No.
for sure,
In the back
Judge.
over there.
Okay.
Hey.
Do you recall what color her hair was?
Yes.
What,
Can I tell you?
please.
Brown or black?
Is it a shorter juror? Okay. Thank you very much. State, any further questions?
And after you were told what was going on, then what happened?
I walked back in.
All right. Did you hear any of the speakers?
I couldn't hear anything.
There
Anything
you
further
go.
from the defense?
Ma'am, did that affect your ability to be fair and impartial?
Can the parties approach for a moment? You recognize
yeah.
our jury. All right, y'all can be seated. Thank you. Again, members of the jury, if I can see those hands, you complied with the instructions during that really short break. Record reflect all hands in the raised. Thank you very much. Mr. J, you may proceed, sir.
Permission to publish from States 21, which was previously marked as P for identification.
There
You
we
may
go.
proceed, sir.
Let's get on with this. Enough of the playing around.
Again, this is a DVD exhibit with 2 folders in the main directory. One entry is in a folder called attachments. Another is a PDF labeled extraction.
We're going to make this thing happen. Hey, Sir Frank Otter. How you
For the
doing?
record, it is
How you doing?
108 pages. And
Oh,
the entire
shit.
document will go back to the jury, and there will be a laptop provided to them to utilize this exhibit.
Are we
For
in
purposes
for
of
more
publication,
damning
I'm going to
videos
go
and pics?
by
Yes, we
Page
are.
number and date, unless something
Hey,
requires
Fawn
more
Mail.
specificity. And for
To
to
the
and
granddaughter
from, I'm
listening.
going to Just
so
use the name
worthwhile.
contact if one
We'll be
exists with
skipping
phone
over
number
quite a bit of
1.
this shit, so you don't
On
have
page
to worry.
1,
We'll make it
vacation
happen.
time for
We're
notes.
going to get caught up to where we are
7:49,
currently.
asking Jorge or
We're gonna
George
sit
not to
through
be
this stuff.
despicable to me, making more drink after he guzzled his and I shared mine.
Yeah.
On page 2, date March 8th, 2018. You are now in a relationship with Jorge or George on Facebook.
Doesn't it scare you to think this is how much
metadata
information
entry,
they're storing about you?
100014, etc. For
Just imagine
Jorge
you're on your
Torres
phone, you're doing
to,
stuff, and this is what
Sarah
they're
Boone
after.
owner.
They find all this stuff out.
Page 3,
Frank,
May 21st,
gifted a
2019.
membership. Thank
from
you, fine sir.
407-716-8684 to Melissa. And he can still live here, correct?
See
Or
who
until I
he
decide to
gifted
finally
that
get
thing
him
to.
out if he doesn't clean up his act after tomorrow.
Oh. That was to Nanny Goat was gifted a membership by Sir Frank Otter. Thank you, Sir Frank. Got it. Not who I was aiming for, but all I could afford. Hey, you do what you can. You don't have to break the
On
bank.
page 9, May 30th,
The beauty
2019,
of
from a contact labeled as
beauty
Mom,
of it
friend,
is-
Jorge, or
is-
George,
so I've
to
got this.
407-716-8684.
Hold on.
Oh.
The beauty of it is I have the lowest tier membership. I think it's 99 cents, and you can become a member. And then, of course, it goes up. If you're thinking the higher membership gives you something, no, that's just if you feel like giving more, you're welcome to give more. Base is absolutely the same as you would get on the higher membership. So thank you very much. Do what you can. You know, all you're doing is supporting the channel, keeping the content rolling out. That's all it does. Just it keeps me from going insane. Of course, I know a lot of you guys want to see me go insane because that would be quite humorous to watch. But here we go.
Which I will just refer to as owner in future references. Where is my clippers in the gray box? From owner to Mom Jorge, all capitals, dumpster, separate message, like you, separate message, so is your 2 shirts, separate message, no more Rick and Morty, a response from contact Mom Jorge to owner, okay. From owner to Mom Jorge, Lucas cried when he saw the adventure fund was gone, thank you, no wonder you're out, fuck off. From owner, he's the one that broke it because you took it. From owner, wanted to go on an adventure. On to page 10. From owner,
Made my
be proud,
son, our son,
feel
cry.
good. He made my, quote unquote, our son cry. Cheese stick, Lucas,
Oh, calls her a
Your kids.
spinster.
get the fuck out of my life and my sons. No one, spinster,
Calls
good,
her a spinster.
for nothing. Dumpster
Wow.
diver, that's what
She's
you
a
are, and the rest
dumpster
of you.
diver. Wow, Raz, fuck you all. Your first
Later on the
joke,
same page.
mean, selfish. Get all.
Owner
wow.
to Mom Jorge, get all of you. Mean, selfish, fuck all you. Your firstborn is a joke.
Damn.
Going on to page 11, same date of May 30th,
It'll be good.
2019.
It'll be good.
From owner
We'll
to
get
Mom
there.
Jorge, get the
We'll
fuck
get
out of
there
my life.
tonight.
Lucas 2, bad influence. From Jorge to owner, I am, as you can see, go drink your life away. From owner to Mom Jorge, your kids are 2. Yuck. Shucks, I only have 1. Beaters, your 3 together. Yuck. Going on to page 12, from owner to Mom Jorge, still dated 5/30/2019. Gross, and all the time, gross. Mom Jorge to owner, I love that guy. I love that guy. You're the one who kicked me out. Owner to Jorge, Mom, finally, get your shot together and check me out in 2 to 3 months. Hope you're there. Unless I find someone better.
Wow.
Shit, together. From Mom Jorge to owner, are you serious? Are you serious? Owner to Mom Jorge, that's what happens? No. Mom Jorge to owner, I'm helping out dad right now. Call you in a few. Owner to Mom Jorge,
Wow.
can you help me put out? Fuck off. Jorge, Mom to owner, how?
Wow. That's a lot. I'm not going to go through all of that. We can skip over that. That will be in the uploaded version of it, but we're moving on past that. That's just a lot. Vital records, certificate of birth, March 6, 1978. So he's a year younger than her. More text messages.
And image, or IMG underscore 0093, metadata, date taken, 6/2/19. Page 38, notes, creation time, June 26, 2019, 5:56:57 a.m. 6:14, X videos, 10:03 a.m. Sarah Banks, 5/3 Bank, 6:13, Metro activation 6:12. Skipping down, X videos 6:2, 6:13 p.m. X videos 6:1, X videos 5:31, 9:56 a. Who's Christine? Paren FB. Going to meet up? Question. Calling her beautiful? Question.
Wow.
Said she thought you were avoiding her when down here. Said no. I was not beautiful. FB-nonchalant Quay. Thanks for adding me. You are exquisite. Facebook messaging Camille 6:13, 9:42. Facebook or FB Pamela Erickson sending pictures of yourself, telling her good morning 7:14, 12:13 a.m. FB Crystal going to woo her, sweep her off her feet, going to change her mind. Luck is my.
We've got Puddle Town that just gifted 5 memberships to Eric Brown, Sandra McFarlane, Donna Miano, Squishy was gifted a membership, and Jill McCain. Awesome. Thank you, Puddle Town, so much for that gifted membership, man. You're on fire. You are on fire. Let me get a baseball bat and put you out real quick. Just thank you, sir. Thank you very much. That is much appreciated. Hopefully that brings those people in. They come in, they hang out and chat. They throw up all kinds of gang signs and just
middle name, sent her pics, kiss emojis, called her beautiful after returning to the convo, said you had to pick up your brother, sent pics of beer, sent her awesome struts, could have been me, sent her songs but not me, messaged bunny kiss emojis, convo, sent puppy kiss emoji, would love to take her out and see a movie.
Man.
Goes on to page 40, goes on to page 41, and ends with never truly yours.
Wow. Just brutal back and forth. I'm glad I missed all this morning. Skip over that.
Noon shift and get some sleep, but he never answered, so I have no idea where he is or what he's.
All right. Looks like we got to the end of that. Look at that. Look at that. That is an hour and 15 minutes that we managed to finish out in 23 minutes. I love it. I love it. Showing how volatile this situation was between these two. It's painful. It's painful to know.
Page 82, 8/21, August 21st, 2019. From Jorge to owner. I love you, my friend, my love, my queen, my everything.
Wow. Clingy much? More and more and more.
The entirety of State's Exhibit 1 will go back to you into the deliberation room with a laptop for you to review all the exhibits and text messages and the total conversations over and above what was highlighted by the state. With that, State, do you have any other witnesses, evidence, or testimony to provide?
Your Honor, at this time, the state rests its rebuttal case.
Okay.
State's rest.
Anything further from the defense? You want to approach?
I just think we have some issues outside the presence of the jury.
Okay.
I have one thought that requires.
Go figure.
Come on up.
Go figure. You think that there's
All right, members of the jury, we're going to go ahead and excuse you for a couple minutes. I got some things I have to discuss with counsel outside of your presence. We'll bring you back in for additional instructions on where we think we're going to go after that. Similar instruction that I've given you over the last couple of days. Please do not conduct any independent research or investigation with regards to the persons, places, things, or charge involved in this case, and do not have any discussions amongst yourselves or anyone else about them. We'll bring you back in as promptly as possible. Thank you.
Well, and think about this. This is the prosecution that's showing, hey, he's no saint. He was doing some online flirting. That's all it was showing. Here's the thing. The prosecution is showing that yes, this guy is not a perfect person. He's definitely by far got some issues. That'd be enough to, get the woman all worked up. But is it worth her deleting him over? That's where the question lies. It doesn't show that he's doing anything violent or he's calling for violence on her. He's just flirting and being a douche canoe, I guess is the best description of him. But also, does that rise to the level of her deleting him? I don't think so. Excellent, Cindy Brown. That's wonderful. Yeah, being a guy. Not that I would suggest doing that, but he is just being a guy. Love it.
Y'all can be seated. Thank you. The state has rested. Mr. Owens, do you have any intention on putting on a SIR rebuttal in this case, sir? Yes, sir.
I have to figure out what I'm going to do because I need to waste some more time.
Judge, we do not intend to put on a SIR rebuttal for the defense.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Boone, I've got a couple of questions to go over with you, ma'am.
Surprise.
You were previously sworn this morning. You've had the opportunity to review and participate in the trial. You've had the opportunity to review the rebuttal case as provided by the state. You've had the opportunity to review and listen to that evidence and witness any cross-examinations as it relates to the state's witnesses in their rebuttal case. Are you satisfied with your attorney's representation of you in this matter?
Definitely.
And are you still on board with the strategy that has been utilized in your defense?
Yes.
Now, your lawyers yesterday told the court that they may want to put on a SIR rebuttal, which would be...
No, the best part is whenever he shows them on the big screen and then laughs at him like, look at this. You see this? Look, titties. That's awesome, Alligat. I love it. That's awesome. Hey, for work week over. Superman is home. No more changing shifts next week. Oh, you gotta love that. Changing every week is getting old. Now the weekend to do what you want. How are you, Frank? Can't fault him for liking boobs. At least he stays at home with her. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. If that's getting him all excited, he gets all excited. He wants to just wrap you up like a pretzel, pound you like dog meat. Are you going to complain? Are you going to complain that you're getting that little bit of action that he's not giving to anybody else? Man, just saying.
Be a limited rebuttal to the evidence presented by the state in their rebuttal, both yesterday and today.
Cindy Brown.
Lawyers have indicated that they do not intend on doing that. Similar to other conversations we've had, ma'am, I don't want to know specifics. I just want to know if you and your lawyers have had these conversations. Have you had a conversation with your attorneys about putting on a SIR rebuttal or a reply in response to the state's rebuttal? You had that conversation. Are you on board with the strategy employed by your lawyers that they are not seeking to put on a SIR rebuttal in this case?
I am.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else that we need to address? State.
Judge, you remember you were going to speak?
Yes. Thank you, sir. Ms. Boone, at the conclusion of the state's presentation of State's Exhibit 21, Mr. Owens had approached and advised the court of some objections, specifically with regard to the co-ownership or co-usage of the phone. The court is not permitted to comment on the evidence. And your lawyer was seeking an instruction from the court to advise our jury that both you and Mr. Torres had access to that cell phone. I am prohibited from commenting on the evidence. That doesn't prevent your lawyer or the state from speaking about that in their closing arguments. Just as a matter of law, I am not able to advise the jury as to what that evidence is. The second request pertained to the state moving from place to place through those 108 pages, moving from timestamp to timestamp. The state chose to present that evidence in that manner, which is why I gave that instruction to the jury that not the entirety of Exhibit 21 was provided to them as to what the state produced, and they'll have to have the opportunity to review that in its entirety when they go to deliberate. Do you have any questions about that so far?
So far, no.
Okay. The last portion, ma'am, pertained to the cadence or tone in which you and Mr. Torres communicated with each other. I have no knowledge as to how you and Mr. Torres communicated in text form as to what the tone was behind those words. Your lawyer advised me that there was an objection and you had some concerns as to the way Mr. J may have read those text messages to the jury. I found that the way that he read them was benign in a flat tone and did not exacerbate or excite any of the language that was in there. He'd read them in as a monotone way as possible in presenting to the jury, and I didn't notice any changes in his cadence or heightening or lowering in and the volume or tense or tone utilized in presenting that information to the jury.
That right there is freaking important, because I'm sure she's just like, well, that's not how it sounded whenever I was reading them off. Well, no, he is reading them off so people can hear the voice behind it. No change in cadence, no change in tone. He kept it monotone, just telling the story. No different than you would find somebody telling you X, Y, or Z from point A to point B. Not like my morning streams where I might get a little bit uptight, worked up, wanting to go crazy. Yeah, Tug is very good at the monotone. That's why the ladies love him. They get all just just Tug, read to me all night long.
Do you have any other questions for me, ma'am? No. Anything else we need to address, Mr. Owens?
No, sir.
Anything else we need to address, State?
No, sir.
Okay. How would we like to proceed with the charging conference? Do we want to bring back our jury? It is 10:33 and advise them this is when we think you want to come back, because we're going to be addressing the law to provide to you. And that's something I need to do outside of your presence. How do we want to proceed at this time?
I think hopefully at 10:33 to about noon should do it for 3.6F. It is convoluted, but I think the parties have made
Second-degree murder and culpable negligence if the actions of Sarah Boone constituted the justifiable use.
He's just reading
Who didn't want to be in
instructions.
there. If someone didn't want to be in there, it would be almost literally impossible to zip that suitcase because how much force it took to zip that suitcase. So the evidence
Doesn't support a duty to retreat?
Correct. Because what they're saying, going back even before we had stand your ground, just going back to the castle doctrine, there was never a duty to retreat from your home.
So then if I understand your argument, you are not seeking to have this included then?
I am seeking.
Because if you're saying she had no duty to retreat, this talks about, hang on, let me just reread it. Okay, so I think I follow your argument. Okay.
What I'm saying is that it should be no duty to retreat, that Sarah Boone had no duty to retreat. That's what we're requesting. I believe the state's objecting to that and saying that it is a dispute. So they want the next pair.
She had every duty to get the hell out of there. She had him locked up in a suitcase. If she was worried about being hurt, stand your ground. He wasn't a threat. No, he was zipped up in a suitcase. Geez, Cindy Brown. Tug is good at the monotone, yes. But Tug has a special way. Whenever he reads in the best way that he possibly can. He's very informative. He tells you exactly what you need to hear. He doesn't give you any more than what you need to know. Doug is not the one with the voice. Yeah, he wasn't a threat. Absolutely. It's you like that southern accent, girl? That's all right. We got it for you. I'll be your huckleberry.
As to the court. But there is nothing that showed at that time, because the state's arguing that she forcefully put him in the suitcase.
Response.
That's a strong argument. That's not the state's argument.
That's not what he said.
The evidence that she provided was he got into that suitcase by himself. And
she zipped it up.
Hide and seek, and he was inside, but not completely hidden. The lid was flapping over him. She came over and zipped it shut, to whether it's 100% or near 100% shut. It was all in fun and jest at first, but he did indicate, and we saw it on the video, image IMG_1062, Sarah, I can't breathe. Sarah, I can't breathe. He was being held against his will.
You gotta love that, girl.
That there's no requirement that she.
If you want to see Southern accent tonight, you want to see some Southern accent tonight, I guarantee, you take your happy self over with us whenever we're over with the expert tonight. It is going to be so sweet. You're probably going to see a bunch of naked people on screen. I mean, nobody's going to be wearing pants. That's a place to be.
It's no different than two people wrestling and play fighting, and one person has another person in a headlock, and then there comes a point in time where I'm tapping out. Jorge Torres was tapping out, and that's on video, and it's in her testimony. It's uncontroverted. There is sufficient evidence for there to be a dispute as to whether or not she was the initial aggressor, and whether that generates a duty of retreat. Quite frankly, it's undisputed evidence because it's uniquely only her testimony coupled with the video. She restrained him in that suitcase on purpose and intentionally. And if you look at the,
I don't know. There might be a little more skin that you're expecting. oh my, Cindy Brown, you never know what kind of shenanigans are going to be happening. If you're looking for some fun, whenever I end this stream tonight, it's going to take you over to the experts. And there's going to be a Halloween stream. It is going to be off the rails fun. There's going to be people and guests that you've never seen before, people that you need to be introduced to, people with one of the most intelligent or ignorant, in my case, fun that you're ever going to find on the interwebs. There's no drama. There's no bullshit. It's just everybody having a good time, hanging out, talking shit to each other. It is the place to be tonight. It will be the place to be. I know you guys are here, but I'm telling you, you stick around. Whenever I end this thing, you're going to see some fun happening.
Elements of aggravated assault in our proposed jury instruction. That is exactly what was going on. She intended for him to feel fearful.
What are they arguing now?
Estimation, the forcible felony paragraph, and then that language being placed into this initial paragraph that we're talking about.
Language. Yeah, all they're doing is arguing bullshit right now.
From using that force when her wrestling partner, so to speak, tapped out.
Damn right. You better.
Okay. I'm going to include the instruction for now. The next paragraph reads, if you find that Sarah Boone, who, because of prior threats or difficulties,
okay.
All right, that'll be included. The next paragraph, if you find that at the time of the alleged aggravated assault and or criminal mischief.
Yeah, there just needs to be secondary murder, manslaughter.
Yep.
Anticipated by the evidence in this case. Yes, absolutely. The standard instruction did not adequately cover the legal theory it is meant to. There is no standard instruction on battered spouse over and above what's included in the self-defense instruction. The special instruction was a correct statement of.
Yeah, they're just going over the legal procedures. Oh, come on.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're correct. I apologize.
Oh, yeah. This is all just legal procedures. Shit. We are about to get into
that takes us now to the state's request for special jury instructions on causation.
All right. So we are going to get into the fun stuff tonight. Oh, yeah. So all this was just them arguing all of what they're going to be bringing in. And it is time. It is time to get to those closing arguments. Oh, the tasty chef's kiss of the closing arguments. Let's bring this bad crap up. It's going to get so fun. Let's do it. Here we go. Got the closed captions on. We're going to kick up that speed so we can be done with this thing before you know it. Oh yeah, bring me up to that top corner. Make me feel special.
This is a box.
No.
This is the box where Jorge Torres was killed. It's a small box, 28
That's what she said.
by 20 by 8 7/8 inches. Jorge Torres was zipped up in this box.
There you go.
Jorge Torres took his last panicked breaths in this box. The medical examiner explained to us that with each breath Jorge Torres took in, there was less oxygen in this box.
Damn. It's rough.
Jorge Torres was murdered in this box. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of myself, my trial partner, we thank you for your time and attention in this most important of trials. We now have the law from the judge in this case. This is what our duty is to follow. And let's have a discussion regarding that law that we've just been read and given.
Yes, it is. 20 by 28 by 8.5, 8 7/8
First
inches.
section of note we're going to come to is called Introduction to Homicide. But this being a legal document written by a bunch of lawyers who you've seen for the last 2 weeks arguing with each other, pay careful attention to ands and ors. Remember, if an and is somewhere,
right, Elka.
we're going to need both things or all the things, and if an or is there,
Hey,
there's only one of
Roxanne.
those things we're going to need. So as we start out here on Introduction to Homicide, we come to
Blah,
the
blah,
first
blah, blah. We're going to fast forward through some of this.
justifiable homicide. And it reads, the killing of a human being is justifiable homicide.
All right, we're going to skip over that because I want to get to the closing remarks, not the facts of law.
For everything you've done to me. For everything you've done to me. Fuck you. Fuck you. Stupid. That's my name. Don't wear it on. I can't fucking breathe, babe. Yeah, that's when you do me, choke me. Skip over that.
Force.
Yep,
Sarah
justifiable force.
License to kill. The fact that Jorge Torres, at points, mistreated Sarah Boone, did things that were worthy enough to get him arrested,
Yeah.
to get restraining orders placed upon him, doesn't mean that she walks around with an ace in her pocket when it comes
Yep.
to Jorge Torres. It doesn't mean that because he did these awful bad things, that now for the rest of time, she's a battered spouse and she just has the right to kill him, or to make him suffer, or to punish him, or to make him feel uncomfortable, or decide that he needs to be confined to a box. No. What the battered spouse syndrome instruction does is it talks about the imminency of fear. And when we heard about that testimony, we heard about it from Dr. Harper, and we heard about it from Dr. Brannon for the defense. And some of the testimony was a little difficult to understand at points, but there was one point in Dr. Brannon's testimony it was very critical. Dr. Brandon talked about rule-outs. He talked about the fact that.
Well, and that's the thing. That's what they're saying is she admits that she zipped it up on him. That's one thing that she admits that she did. She zipped it up on him. He was agreeable. They were having fun. It was all laughs and giggles. She was dragging him around. They were having a good time. They were laughing it up, yucking it up. And then at some point in time, he said he wanted out. And at that point, she said, hell no. And she smacked him around with a baseball bat every time he tried to get his hand out of there. Zipped it up the rest of the way. Hit him a few more times. Took her happy ass to bed and passed out drunk. So, yeah, she admits that she did it. When I finally get your stream developed, I'll have a jam night and you can come all play along with me. That'll be all off key and shit, too. As the timing doesn't work on StreamYard. It's really weird.
When emotions and emotional reactions are involved, like trauma and trauma-based disorders, other possibilities have to be ruled out before we can even ascribe those actions to battered spouse syndrome. Other possibilities, according to Dr. Brandon, include alcohol abuse. Dr. Harper should have listened to Dr. Brandon's testimony because Dr. Brandon completely undercut Dr. Harper's testimony. Dr. Harper relied heavily on the words of the defendant, who was abusing alcohol at the time of these events. And then you heard from the expert for the state, Tanya Warner. In her opinion, was much more straightforward. Remember, Dr. Brandon did not render an opinion as to whether or not she suffered from battered spouse. Dr. Warner said affirmatively, yes, I believe she did suffer from battered spouse. But she also applied what Dr. Brandon was talking about. Other possibilities have to be ruled out as the trigger for a behavior, for an event. So, in Dr. Warner's estimation, the fact that at the time of this incident, they were laughing, joking, and carrying on meant that the trigger was not domestic violence or some threat. In the defendant's own words, the trigger was him wanting to get out and her being reminded of the bad things that he had done to her. That's not imminence of fear. That's a reminder of bad things a person has done. And again, even if you were to believe that she was battered spouse triggered at the time of this event, it still does not save the day. Because all the battered spouse trigger law tells us is that it goes to that imminency requirement. It doesn't say there's no imminency requirement. It doesn't say that, look, if you're suffering from battered spouse and you're triggered by battered spouse, then, hey, there's no more imminency requirement, do as you wish. It just gives the ladies and gentlemen of the jury another thing to consider in determining whether or not that threat was imminent. And we know from the evidence, we know from the videos, there was absolutely no threat. And we know there was no threat because Jorge Torres never got out of that box. He was never got out of that box until sometime on the early afternoon of February 24th. Mr. J, can you please publish from stage 21?
Oh.
gonna go to court and I'm gonna tell the judge, listen, my fiance has nothing to do with it. It's all my fault. We both drinking and got in an isolated situation that has never happened before. I love my fiance. She's a good woman. Her being in trouble in her life, she has a 7-year-old son that she loves and cherishes.
A blind Boston Terrier.
She has 2 dogs. One is blind and one is deaf. She goes around and she's driving and sees an animal that's injured. She'll stop in the middle of the street, no matter what kind of traffic it is, just to make sure that that animal doesn't get injured any more than where it already has. We both love each other, we both live together. Yes, every relationship has their arguments, but we are not the type of people that you guys are portraying us to.
She especially.
Especially her. So please, if you can,
Dismiss.
dismiss this case.
Close.
Drop it. She is not the type of person.
Good person.
She's a great person.
Angel.
I know she'd be an angel. She's close to it.
Best thing that has ever happened to me.
Yes, ma'am. And I love you to death. And I hate that we're going through this.
Sonnet.
But
And they couldn't.
God will prevail and will take us out of this situation.
Clearly, George Torres is dominating the defendant. Clearly, George Torres is the one telling the defendant what to do. Clearly, George Torres is the one calling the shots at 4748 France Lane. Ladies and gentlemen, are we so sure that George Torres wasn't the person suffering from battered spouse syndrome? Next, we're going to come to the justifiable use of non-deadly force. The language and the arguments are pretty close to what we've already heard in the deadly force instruction, including key language that it requires a reasonably cautious and prudent person under the same circumstances would believe that the use of non-deadly force was necessary. Ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you that this was not a case of non-deadly force. George Torres lost his life as a result of these actions. We have heard the testimony of Dr. Sarah Zadovich, who described his cause and manner of death, who described the mechanism of death, how that oxygen dissipated
Oh, damn right.
in that suitcase. And when we also look at the imminency, we heard in opening statements by Mr. Owens that, the big threat in this case, the awful threat, was in the magic 9 minutes between the video at 11:12 that she took, torturing George Torres, to her follow-up video at 11:23.
9 minutes where she got really aggressive.
Mr. J, that you published from States 17, IMG 1063.
That's awesome. We need people like you out there. I'm not a music nerd. I just like to play. I like to perform. Hey, Lulu. Clunk, 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 clunk. Yeah, they're gonna play that video. That's it.
There's a short video. Well, what's one of the things that we notice by this point?
Damn right, Puddle
You can
Town.
hear how loud George's voice is on the 11-12 video. But now, roughly 11 minutes later, from the time that started, you see that the makeshift coffin that he's in has been moved, and his voice now is softer. The life is draining from George Torres,
Good to see you, Lilu.
and it's evident in that video. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is evidence that there was no threat in the magic 9 minutes that was not recorded. There was only George Torres in this box, slowly
Huh.
being killed.
You chilling? Nobody. Oh, nobody. You good? Good? All right. That's good.
Next, we come to weighing the evidence.
I agree, Sharon. What's up? What's up?
This instruction tells us it is up to you to decide what evidence is reliable. You should use your common sense in deciding which is the best evidence and which evidence should not be relied upon in considering your learn from the imagination of Sarah Boone. It is not a reasonable doubt. But if you find yourself back in that
That's right,
deliberation,
Pendleton.
and you are just trying to think of some way in which
That's
the
right,
defendant
Sharon.
is not guilty, just searching, struggling for that way, that also is not a reasonable doubt.
This is Mr. Cacciatore. He is the attorney on the state side. He hadn't seen a whole lot of them, but he's been basically second chair. He's pretty damn solid.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is a forced doubt. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm confident that when you read the entirety of those jury instructions and apply the law to the facts that came out in this case, that you are going to come back with the only lawful verdict, which is guilty as charged, second-degree murder. Thank you.
Damn. That's solid.
Members
Solid.
of the jury, it is
solid.
4:04. As I promised,
That's
we were
all
going to take
get
that
out.
afternoon break before the defense proceeds with their closing argument. You're going to leave everything behind. Similar instruction that I've given you before. Please don't conduct any independent investigation. Thank you.
All right, so jury's gone.
Okay, may proceed.
Sarah Boone's entitled to a fair trial. I think that right's been compromised here today.
What?
I don't know who scheduled to put two detectives on the front row with the Torres family, the family of the victim. But they had to have known to tell them that the suitcase video, which has been around for 4.5 years, was going to be played during opening statement.
Doesn't matter.
The state attorney's office or the sheriff's department had to advise them, or the victim's advocate had to advise them, that if they couldn't take it in front of a jury that's trying to decide the case, they needed to get out of the courtroom. Now, what happened here today should not ever happen. There should be safeguards in place. There's no room for this after 2 weeks of murder trial for something like that to happen. One of the Torres members of the family audibly, during the 2-minute suitcase video, expressed some kind of emotional reaction. I look back, he or she were bent over in agony, physical pain. The physical pain followed the audible announcement. You can't unring that bell. That's their responsibility to ensure that kind of thing doesn't happen, especially when they
No,
know
it's
they're going
not.
to show a video and the family of the victim is on the front row. I've never heard of such. I asked for a mistrial.
Response.
I've never heard of such a request. The victim's family has the right to be here. They were advised as to what would be used during closing arguments. I cannot make a decision for the victim's family and the homicide survivors as to whether or not they believe they can handle it. She clearly, or he, I don't know, couldn't, and I believe the appropriate thing was done, and they left the courtroom. But again, to say this is intentional sabotage and all the accusations that continuously get made are unsubstantiated.
They have every right to fucking be there.
It does not warrant a mistrial.
Yeah, how dare the family of the victim be there?
Judge their own emotions. I don't understand what test we are expected to run on homicide survivors. So the motion should be denied.
Motion's denied.
Yep. Boom. Judge is like, screw
Jury's
those
gonna be back
bastards.
In about 13 minutes, counsel. So we'll reconvene at that point in time.
Yeah, I mean, that's the... Could the state put the suitcase back in tomorrow? Yeah.
Yeah, can we clean the well from the state's materials, please? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I know they're not liking it, but here's the thing. That's just tough titty. They have every right to fucking be there. You don't like it? Yeah, they left, so no problem. It was not for Sarah. They would not need to be effing there. Yeah, exactly. What a... Yeah, she looks a little more frazzled today. All right, let's see what this meat brain has to say. Oh my God. Is she just sitting there with a smirk on? No remorse for what she did. She doesn't believe she did anything wrong. No. There's your girl. There you go, Puddletown. She's just smiling at the jury, just smiling away. You know, they're looking at her going, oh my fucking God, she has no remorse for this whatsoever.
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, you recognize our jury. Thank you. Y'all may be seated. Members of the jury, for one of the last times, if you could, please raise your hands to confirm that you complied with the court's instructions. All hands have been raised. Members of the jury, at this time, the defense is going to proceed with their closing argument, similar to the state's closing argument. These are not evidence. These are just arguments, and I ask you to pay attention to them. Thank you. Mr. Owens, you may proceed, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Y'all know me, I'm James Owens, along with Tony Henderson and the girls. We're all from Milton. I think y'all figured that out, that we were from out of town, Santa Rosa County.
Exactly.
Close to Pensacola. And my buddy Kevin Beck, he's a longtime friend, he's from New Mexico. The team, the defense team, is here, and we're here to represent Miss Sarah Boone. And we feel confident that we're going to be able to show you why she's not guilty. Okay? Now, I'm going to take my time.
Oh, please do. We got all the time in the world.
I've got some exhibits that we're going to show you, and then we got a couple of videos at the end. Okay? And we're going to try our best to help you make the right decision. Okay? But yeah, Milton's a small town.
Overruled.
See how small it is. 7 miles away is another small town called Pace. In between that is a Walmart. It's a very small town. We didn't know what to expect coming down here to Orlando. Judge, I'm allowed to.
I'll give you a little bit more for intro, but then we need to get into it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
So
get to it.
shut your cake hole.
It's a small town, good people. We've been down here 3 weeks. We didn't know what to expect. We've been surprised. From the
Objection. Improper argument.
Mr. Owens, approach.
Yeah, Mr. Owens, how about you shut the F up and, like, defend your client? There's the little blondie with the duck lips. Blondie with the duck lips. I mean, she'd be cute if she'd just get rid of the duck lips. Owens. Moron. Moran.
I don't remember. That's the gaslighting.
What?
That this young woman, vulnerable woman, with nobody, just starving
Owens is
for
a
love,
whiny little
starving
bitch.
for attention,
Uh-huh, sure.
but seeing the good in the man. And it was good.
It's good up until
But
you
every
locked him in a
day was on the
suitcase.
balance. She measured
Right.
every day, depending on how it started and then how it ended. And that's the way she had to live her life.
It ended
Day
up
in
with him
and day out.
dead.
Day in and day out. Dr. Harper
God.
and Dr. Brandon talked about trauma. Dr. Harper spoke of the veterans that she had treated
Yeah,
for
he
post-traumatic stress.
just told the jury
I don't
they're
know if you remember her
gaslit.
testimony. But she spoke about some of the veterans that had been in the war in Iraq. You know, and
What?
people in war a lot of times get post-traumatic stress. It used to be called shell shock and other things. But people in wartime, or police officers will get post-traumatic stress.
What are you
And a lot of them
rambling on
come in,
about?
the males come in with this bravado, I'm all right. I'm all right. And so, that's why Dr. Harper was talking about the veterans, that's what they'll do. But you've got to spend
She
time
don't
with
know
them.
squat.
It just can't be one session. And you've got to run
Hey, kid.
post-traumatic stress testing, which tells whether they really have post-traumatic stress.
Says that she didn't. At the time that she murdered him, no post-traumatic
We
stress
all
disorder.
probably have experienced some trauma. All of us have lost some loved ones. And it's awful. You're in shock. You can't.
Well,
believe
she's
it.
been
It's
shocked for
disbelief.
4.5
You
years
don't
and
see it.
unemotional the whole time.
And eventually, you have to go back to work. You take a week off. Life has to go on. Life has to go on. You go back to work. Kids are in school. You get a little time, right? Time
I
heals,
agree, Buttletown.
right? These veterans that come back from a deployment, they
Yep.
get back. They get
I'm
some
with you,
semblance of
Lulu.
normalcy. They may or may not get some treatment, but time helps. Time heals.
Yeah, you throw enough shit, it's
Everybody.
going to
It
stick
helps.
to them, and they're not going to like it. They feel dirty.
Overcoming a divorce, overcoming a death, whatever trauma. Sarah Boone had no break. No break.
No
Learned
break?
helplessness. Just giving up. Just giving up. I can't get out of this situation. They broke up. She go about 2 days. She go about 2 days.
She go about 2 days, and then she'd call him up and say, "Come back to me, George. Come back to me." And then she'd treat him like shit for another 3 days.
Texting, calling. Just learned helplessness. And it's, in the manual. Battered spouse syndrome is not, but what did you hear Dr. Harper say? She suffers from post-traumatic stress. That is a mental disorder.
No.
You are actually undergoing the psychological effects of post-traumatic stress. You're not in your
Christmas
right mind,
story.
and it's repeating
Shoot
itself.
her out, kid.
It's repeating itself again and again, day in and day out. And when you look at this law, that's what you have to apply. Someone in Sarah Boone's shoes, when you're deciding whether her conduct was reasonable. Got a bunch of notes.
Yeah, I bet you do. Maybe if you had your shit together, you'd provide a good defense.
Oh, man, it was something I wanted to read.
Oh, you have something you want to read. Let's flip through fucking 10 pages of bullshit. Disorganized doesn't even say the word for what this guy is. No, he doesn't look convincing.
Sarah Boone's long-term exposure to abuse created a state of learned helplessness and diminished her capacity to assess risk, especially in moments of heightened stress. The cyclical nature of this violence, the tension building, the battering, the contrition phases,
delay,
caused
delay,
Sarah
delay,
to be
delay.
trapped psychologically in that relationship. Due to this clear abuse, Sarah Boone had a reasonable belief of imminent harm under her state of mind.
Isn't
George
too.
Torres had a history of violence against Sarah, and as a result, Sarah Boone's actions
Exactly.
were the result of fear conditioned by abuse she endured over time. The cumulative effects of long-term abuse, as we saw her behavior on the 2-minute suitcase video, is a trauma response. Sarah Boone acted out of a sense of preservation.
And I will say, you know, I was talking with was it Yamaha Raw Store. I was talking with them either this morning or last night. I don't know. Time is a social construct that I can't accept. And everybody saw those videos last night. Everybody that was watching this stream saw those videos last night, where each and every person at some point in time, throughout every one of those videos, it might not have been every single one of them, but everybody saw something that set them in a certain mindset. You know, it was Yamaha that noticed what she said as he was going out to the car, the final words that she was saying as he was going off. It was, for me, it was, you know, another part of the video for Volstorm. It was another part of the video where he just curled up in a ball after she berated him, where it looked like he had just given up. I mean, every single person that was watching this last night with me, at some point you were seeing a spot in that video that really just made your skin curl. Every single person felt the pain that man was suffering at some point in time. It could have been something that she said that just triggered something in the back of your mind. Every single person here, it set something off of a primal nature of that made your stomach turn, made your eyes turn away, made your heart break. Every single person had some reaction. I was watching the chat, and exactly, Sharon, it was seeing her as the abuser. And you know, George was far from a perfect human being. At some point in time, he could have easily walked away from that, whatever reason he didn't. And each person that watched this could see and feel the pain that he was feeling, the pain that she was offering. I mean, I'm sure there was certain people that could see them actually doing something like this to somebody else, and feeling some sort of remorse for saying something shitty to somebody, where you're just like, damn, I guess that was a little rude, a little cold, and have some sort of apology or feel bad for it. She shows no emotion whatsoever for the things that she said or done. She feels like she was the abused, although it's clear that she was the abusive person. And that's what the doctor was saying about her she has narcissistic tendencies. Everybody has those. And the pain that she inflicted on him, all the way up until the point that he was no longer breathing. At any point in time, she could have walked away from that situation. And that her not leaving that situation is what made it that more egregious, and feeling that she's entitled to 4 years of making this family suffer because they can't get closure on it. Just, it's crazy. Sorry.
While tragic, it was not driven by malice, but a mind ravaged by abuse. And I'm going to ask you to try to understand. Try to understand. Sarah Boone being emotionally and psychologically broken, whose actions may have been misguided attempts at survival but not murder. Imminent danger, her response reacted to that belief. It's somebody suffering from the long-term psychological effects of domestic violence. Who spent a lot of time? Dr. Brandon, you remember him. He was the first expert on trauma. Took some notes. Kevin Beck, you remember, did the direct examination of Dr. Brandon. He was from down in Miami, I think. He talked about the trauma that you cannot escape from the abuse, so you develop coping skills to protect yourself.
That's the way to do it, Alka.
It changes your behavior.
Watch a
Not
few
only your
acts of
behavior,
kindness
but your
videos
thinking.
after.
Your subjective thinking about fear and what to do. And if you remember, Dr. Brandon said it's all about that person's perception. Okay? A lot of times they will self-medicate with alcohol or drugs. A lot of times they suffer from anxiety. Basically, he said the trauma ends up being terror because you do not know what to expect. You do not know what is going to happen that night. It may be a great night. You may drink, and both of you have a great time. He falls asleep.
See, the problem is him explaining this. They've already put themselves in George Torres's position. They're viewing everything that he's saying about that she felt. Every single thing that he's saying about her. They're looking at George saying he was the one that was abused. He right now, if you listen to this as George Torres being the victim in this situation, and everything that he says about, she felt like he thought he was going to get a great night's sleep, and here she shows up, pounding on him, berating him. I want my keys. Where's my keys? Sarah, I have no idea where your keys are. And berating him. He can't get a decent night's sleep. She makes him sleep outside the bedroom and then berates him whenever he does. Just imagine this as being a description, everything that he says, a description of what George is going through.
Sleep, passes out, you fall asleep, passes. But it may turn, like, depending on his mood, I don't know if you can tell, she would try to placate him.
He would try to placate her.
Dr. Brandon said, when you're trying to evaluate somebody, it takes time to get them to trust you. And the ultimate goal, he said, is to be a behavioral detective. If you're a forensic psychologist, is to be a behavioral detective. And the ultimate goal is to put yourself in an abused person's eyes so you can better understand their world. But ultimately, it's their perception of danger. Their perception of danger is what you have to look at. What a reasonable person would
His
do is
perception.
their perception of danger.
His perception of danger.
I want to go on. Trauma experts explain how victims' reactions in moments of stress are the product of the damaged psyche. Her actions, although tragic, and it was a tragedy, George Torres lost his life in that suitcase. It's a reactionary response to sustained trauma. It's as if Sarah was acting out of a deeply ingrained fear and helplessness developed over the years. So it's a desperate need for survival, but battered women do things to keep the peace from time to time.
Yo, traveling
When they feel like
fools.
they have a small portion
Good
of
to see you,
momentary
brother.
power, they may enjoy that
Had a
by
good time
mobilizing
last
their
night.
position to the abuser. Sarah Boone's not perfect. Sarah Boone would argue with him, talk down to him. Some would say was somewhat abusive to him.
That's right, Frank.
Sarah's not charged with that. Sarah Boone is not charged with that. And I want to read you something on that subject.
Once upon a time, in a land far, far away.
Essentially,
Traveling fools, good people, man. Good people.
okay, I don't know where it's at, but I'm going to have to come back to it. But essentially what it said was, eventually,
That's more than disorganized. Jeez Louise, dude.
it's been a 2-week trial, I've got a bunch of notes. I'm trying to get this right. I know it's important. what I wanted to say was someone can be mean and angry and hateful and intoxicated and still be abused. They're not mutually exclusive. And mutual abuse exists where one is abusive towards another. And eventually the victim, Sarah Boone, trying to fight back against the abuse, became verbally abusive. While the victim has committed verbal abuse, it is important to remember that they, Sarah Boone, are the victim.
She was the instigator. She's not the victim.
Vicious cycle where they are trying to survive. Sarah Boone intentionally left Jorge Torres in the suitcase. What's the act of a battered spouse
That's
syndrome woman?
so right, Puddle Town.
She went up to her room, she fell asleep, and passed out. These actions are disconnected. Ultimately, she didn't let him out because of her fear that she knew if he got out in that moment, what he would do.
Live?
That's real fear, that's real trauma that she was experiencing at that time. Now, I talked to you about force being used, and I think I talked to you about blocking an attack using a physical restraint like this.
Must be all of her notes.
Attack. And the example I give, I've got a couple of examples that may or may not apply. Let's say you're in a bar and you've got your buddies and the other guy's got their buddies and they're drinking and there ends up being an argument between two of them, and you realize that these two are fixing to get in it. Well, one of your buddies comes around on the other side and grabs the guy before he's able to start, right? So you're committing an offense on this guy, but it's a restraint. It's a restraint where you grab him by the neck and try to get him out the bar. So yeah, you're committing an act, but it's designed to defend another, which is legal.
Yeah, but that's not what happened in this situation. So here's what happened in this situation. She restrained him. He's completely restrained. Hit him with a bat a couple of times. And instead of removing herself from the situation, calling the police, she decided to flip him over, taunt him some more, watch him beg for his life. And then she took her happy ass to bed and said, you know what? Done. At any point in time, she could have let him out. She could have unzipped it far enough that he could get air, that he could get his hand out, and then she could have left. Bullshit. How's it going, Volstorm? Yeah, you gearing up? You gearing up for tonight? Ooh, yeah, buddy. Gearing up.
Or let's say you have a situation where you have a police officer and he's on patrol. You know, he's in uniform, he's wearing a firearm, and of course he's got the bulletproof vest. And he goes to a call where there's a suspect that may be armed.
Your analogy sucks.
If she gets in your face, whatever she does, you do not have a right to hit a woman.
Yes, you do. If you're being assaulted, you have every right to defend yourself. Sorry. You have every right to defend yourself against an aggressor. Every damn right. Sorry. Sorry, ladies. You may not like this. Most of the time, men can step away from it, get away from it. But if you're the aggressor and you're attacking a man, that man has every right to defend himself. Liberal ass bullshit argument. Yes. You have every right to defend yourself against an aggressor.
The state attorney referred to these pictures. And I was going to rise up and show these pictures to you.
Overruled. You may proceed.
And I was going to rise up and show these pictures to you. Well, yeah, I'm going to do that. They put her on trial for murder. But what did they say? And I got to turn to this.
And I'll say my wife is a very, very tiny thing. Well, she's, not as tiny as she was, but she's pretty damn, she's in comparison to me, she's half my weight, half my size. She is tiny. All right. If she attacks me, I'm not too worried about it. I can restrain her and calm her down. Not that she ever does. Just saying, I don't have any problem. And then I can remove myself from the situation. Be done, be away from it. It's a different story if I'm attacking her. she needs to use at least equal or more force to stop me. You know, that's why women being armed is a beautiful thing. Because if a male aggressor is attacking a woman, I'm telling you, she needs to use every bit of reasonable force to make sure that he is no longer a threat. If a woman is a threat and she's threatening a man and she's attacking a man with a baseball bat and he pops a cap in her ass, well, damn. He did what he possibly could to make sure that he was safe. Yeah, you're 5 foot, 100 pounds. Doesn't mean that you can't be violent and aggressive. You know, like I said, I don't agree that men should be just going around slapping women around. But if you've got someone that's aggressively attacking you, you have to defend yourself. Yeah.
Make sure I get this exactly like they said. I took a bunch of notes.
I don't know, Beth G.
Let me make sure I got this quote. Can't even find it. It was something to the effect, maybe Jorge Torres is the battered spouse.
Yes.
Can you believe it?
Yes. We can.
Can you believe that?
Yes. We can. We saw it.
Now you know why we're here. Now you know why we're here.
Yeah, because you're because the person you're defending killed somebody. That's why you're there.
That girls are different. You do not put your hands on a girl. You can't wrestle with them. You can't punch them. You can't kick them. You can't.
Damned if you can't. You just have to realize that it's not a cannibal.
Women that way.
Yeah.
When
I
you
want to
become
speed him
adults,
up.
I don't care what she does to you. I don't care what she says to you. If she gets in your face, whatever she does, you do not have a right to hit a woman.
Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. You have every right to hit a woman. Every damn right. If they are the aggressor, you have every right to defend yourself. Every damn right.
No, sir.
I think mud wrestling is good.
Objection. What has they done? Objection. What evidence that they tried to put on? Overrule. What evidence that they tried to paint Sarah
as the aggressor? Every bit of it has been her as the aggressor.
Controlled and manipulated were the words they used.
Controlling, manipulating, aggressive, violent, abusive.
You know, this ain't the 1900s. This is 2024. What's all these text messages? Why is that relevant? What are they trying to claim? She provoked his violence?
No, she was the violent one. He defended
She
himself.
provoked his violence.
No, that's not what she said.
Isn't that what they've done here in this trial?
Sustained.
He was smaller than her, weighed less than her.
Abraham Marino. I don't know if you remember him. Abraham Marino changed his statement. They took a statement from Abraham Marino in which Sarah stated, I don't know if you remember, but it was when the police were all there.
Exactly, okay.
They got to take out, and some neighbors were coming around, and there were 2 or 3 neighbors sitting around. He said, Sarah came out and stated it was an accident. Okay? Well, then, it was an accident. Abraham Marino knew Jorge Torres from Philly. Okay? They were friends. They would talk either at the complex or if Marino went to Hall Ace Hardware or Ace Hardware.
Yeah, they were comparable at best.
The state attorney notifies.
Good. I'm going to try to read from things that are not in that.
Approach.
Yeah. Damn right, you piece of shite.
And Brandon Motes. Remember those guys? And you remember it came out in testimony, you know, this event happened on February 23rd, 2020. But it came out in the testimony that Sarah had said, Jorge Torres, the night before, February 22nd of 2020, grabbed me by my hair and pulled me down the stairs in my apartment.
Yeah, she had no bruises on her from
What they were
it.
saying happened, remember?
Yep.
But they got their dates wrong. And remember, Mr.
Me
Henderson
cup of
called
tea.
Deputy Copsel, or Detective Copsel up in our case, and she had to say, yeah, I didn't take their two statements until the 27th, February the 27th, remember? So
We will be firing it off here pretty soon. We'll be dropping everybody over into the expert. So stay tuned, because it's going to happen. As there will be another spot here where the defense fucks up and says something where I'm going to pause it, and then we'll kick everybody over to the expert, and I'll be joining over there at 9 o'clock. That's going to be the place to be. So it's just hang.
they're remembering back, and they both had similar stories. Of course, they had time to talk.
Or
by
get
the
it
27th.
good.
I think the only recorded interviews they got the night of this event, February 23rd, was from Sarah Boone and her ex-husband, Brian Boone, right? So they came back following up on the 27th. That's when they got a statement from Brandon.
Don't matter.
And Vincent Battaglia. And at that time, they said, yeah, we heard that sound. You remember Sarah testifying? No, that was the night before. I complained about that, and I think one of them had testified. Yes, she had said something about being drugged down the night before. It may have been, can't remember now who it was. One of them. And, you know, it looked like that there may be some implication that Sarah got him in the suitcase and pushed him down the stairs. But I think that it had anything important for me. And then this photograph, which we introduced, which shows the bottom of the stairs, as you can see, there's Lucas's. This is where Sarah Boone stored Lucas's stuff. You can see it's not disturbed at all. Anyway, I want to get back to Sarah. I want to talk a little bit about that. But let me talk a little bit about the law. Unjustifiable use of force is legal and lawful if you reasonably believe, I probably already understand by now, you reasonably believe it was necessary to prevent imminent threat to harm. The law is crucial, ensuring that individuals can safeguard themselves in potentially dangerous situations. By acknowledging you have a right to defend yourself when you have a reasonable belief that force is necessary to prevent an attack. Okay? What did Mr. Henderson say in jury selection? You don't have to wait. You do not have to wait. If you're facing, in your mind, a reasonable, imminent threat, you don't have to wait. Let's talk about Sarah Boone and this unconventional form of physical restraint to block the attack of Jorge Torres. What did she say? Assault. Now, you got to think about that. You got to think about what was going on. You got to think about the trauma she was undergoing. You got to think about they've both been drinking, and you got to think about the fact that it was all fun and games for a while. And I think the biggest thing to know is that Jorge Torres chose to get in the suitcase. He's a grown man. That was his choice.
What?
He didn't force him in at gunpoint to get into that suitcase. He voluntarily got into that suitcase because they were
And she fucking zipped it up and then would not let him out.
drunk and being silly and stupid and playing hide and seek. Which I guess when you get so drunk, that seemed like a good thing. Zipped him up, they're laughing, carrying on. And as you know, Sarah likes to videotape a lot. And I know you've seen some of these videos and you're wondering why, but I think the evidence shows that when Jorge is being videotaped, he's not going to do anything. If you think about that. When Jorge is being videotaped, that's like her power.
Yeah,
Harper
right.
said that, Sarah's words are her power. Sarah's words are her power. Physically, she's no match for them. Physically, she's no match.
Yeah, she is.
But that's her power, so yes. When she gets a chance,
She kills
to have
him.
some control.
She kills him.
That's what she does.
She
And
kills
she
him.
videotapes, because she knows when she's videotaping, she can tell it like it is. I can tell him what I want to tell him.
But she never did.
She's telling him like it is. But she's got that video camera on, and George knows. He's being videoed. We've got one that we're going to show you in a minute.
Evil person.
Right there. And of course, we got the TV. But they're kidding around, playing around. Then, Sarah realizes, okay, this is my chance to say something to him. So she sits down, she turns on the phone, and you've seen the tape. You've seen the tape. For everything you've done to me, are the first words out of Sarah's mouth when the video begins.
I'm going to keep you locked up in here, let you die. Yeah, we saw the video.
For everything you've done to me. This is how it feels when
yeah,
you choke.
yeah.
Now that's in direct response and the result of the abuse that she suffered at the hands of Jorge Torres. She wants him for that moment to feel how she feels.
She was the abusive one.
She wants for that moment to feel, for him to feel how she feels. How uncomfortable,
Yep.
lack of control that she feels when George is violent with her. Just for a moment, she won't do it. And if you
She
can
might
imagine,
have Beth G.
Approach.
All right. I knew that was going to happen. So yeah, she just got his about ready. I know he's about ready. That's why I'm going to be kicking you boys and girls over there to go see the expert. We're going to kick you guys over there and give you the expert here in about 2 minutes. It's going to be happening. So I'm going to be finishing this up tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be finishing this out. We may end up with a verdict tonight. You never know how the jury is going to act. I don't know if they're sequestered right now, but I will tell you, this has been the craziest thing. You keep going back and forth. Oh, tonight's going to get good. Tonight's going to get good. It is 7 minutes after 8. The expert's going to be firing his shit off. It is going to be off the rails fun. Everybody's going to be forwarded over there. Make sure that you hit the like, you subscribe, enjoy the show. There's not going to be any drama. There's no hatred over there. It's all peace and love, brother. It is all peace and love. It is the kindest group of people having fun, cracking jokes, cracking beers, beverages, maybe cracking a couple of skulls. We will see you over there. Everybody have a good night. And check it out tomorrow. It might be the middle of the day. It might be the end of the day. It might be Sunday in the middle of the day. Make sure you've got the subscribe button clicked and all that neat stuff. And we will finish this thing out later on. Peace, you all. Have a good night. And just wait. It's going to get wild tonight. Friday Night Live over there on the expert. Peace, you all. Have a good night.
Looking tight, I curl and wait. You passed out, hoping you return my fate. Empty my stash out. Stupid game has turned to cruel. Are you feeling me? Love inside, I feel the fool. I can breathe. Wasn't meant to be my night. Hiding in the suitcase tight. Sarah's giggles fade away, leaving me as a castaway. Sarah, let me out. I'm begging, begging, please. And please, breathing stuff. I'm almost pegging. Please, grief's gone wrong. Don't leave me here. Lost my air in this gear. In this case, I disappear. Are you there?